Willkommen, bienvenue, welcome once again, everybody out there in Linky Dink land. I'm very proud to say I've got in the studio Stephanie Mitchell Hughes, Resilience 2.3, 2.3, that's three ahead. 2.0 is her journey through all sorts of things from COVID, long COVID, dealing with workplace bullying out the other side. And now she is a flag bearer for resilience in work and in life. And today we're talking about an interesting topic. Welcome, by the way,
Hey, Gareth.
because today is the anniversary of an event that really changed the direction of Stephanie's life. Her long-term partner, her husband of a number of years, on this day left.
Or a few
And
days before that, though.
yeah, but the point was, this was the turning point for you. This is where the course of your ship changed direction radically. So you have a number of options when things change, especially when things change and you don't have control over the fact they've changed because they happen to you rather than you inflicting upon someone. You can either sit back and wallow and let events run you over like a steamroller, or you can take action and seek to do things differently. Tell me what happened next, Stephanie.
Okay, so I want to say that my circumstance is that my marriage was over and I was on the road to ending it. But the most important thing was not so much, at least for me, it wasn't so much that my marriage ended, but what was important was the state that I was in when it ended. And also the fact that I had to reconnect with myself. I had to look at my own behavior. I had to really be accountable for my own conduct. And because it takes two people to be married, and it takes maybe one, maybe not two people, but at least one person to divorce and to end that relationship. My glasses look crooked.
Yeah,
Anyway,
I was going to say is at this stage you were in recovery effectively.
well, I was just beginning to recover. And I didn't know at the time, for example, I didn't know that at that point in those very early days, didn't know that I had been deeply depressed and didn't know it, didn't know, without knowing it for more than a decade, didn't know just what wretched shape I was in physically and mentally and emotionally. And it marked a point where I had to begin to rebuild my life. And one of the things that I learned over the course of the years is that um, this really is my story. It's really my journey. It's not anyone else's journey. And the other thing that I learned is that to really take stock of myself, to really own things that served me and remove those things from my life and really reckon with myself. And as the when these years and these anniversary dates approach, one of the things that there's a tendency, we hit these spots. We whenever we've got a date of a traumatic event or a life-changing event, the date that a loved one has died, and you've got your grief, the date on which you, in this instance, got divorced, the date on which your child was born. It could be, it tends to happen more so with negative times and negative circumstances than the positive ones. But there can be this tendency of possibly grieving that
Yeah,
loss. and ruminating over it and getting into, well, if only I, or coulda, shoulda, woulda, or looking at the other person in this case a relationship, and blaming them for becoming really bitter about it. And the other thing, and I'll add this one, that happened, both of these incidents happened in February. But in February of 2021, I was diagnosed with long COVID. And so now I've had long COVID for, I think it's 1,095 days. And sometimes I get, I'm still living with it and it's still really tough. And there are times when I get frustrated or angry or just really just negative and down on myself about having long COVID and how it has completely upended my life. But just as in the situation with what happened in February of 2006, when my marriage was formally or officially was ending, and I started a whole new journey, or getting diagnosed with long COVID and looking at what it's cost me and how it's changed my life. The question for me is, it's not, I'm going to ruminate on this, I'm going to get stuck in it. The question is, okay, where do I go from here? What is my way ahead?
Right.
And that's why I wrote, it's like Lot's wife looked backward and turned into a pillar of salt. You can look backward and turn into your pillar of salt, or you can look forward and look at how far you have come, how you may have changed, how empowered you are, how strong you are, what you have accomplished, what you have built of your life, and what have you. No life is perfect, no life is without trial or challenge, but what you can do is look at how far you've come. With respect to long COVID, because it can be so suffocating to deal with, and the way that long COVID patients are treated and basically ignored, our needs are ignored medically, especially, it's easy to just get completely suffocated and inundated. But for me, I have to turn back and look backward and look at and recognize and even celebrate how far I have come over those 1,095 days. That first year that I was out and I just basically was bedridden, and I just thought I was going to die. But then I
Yeah.
had to, but then it's like, okay, that first year, no, there were so many things that I didn't have energy, strength. I had extremely fatigued, all of that. Well, where am I today? I am able to go out into the world much more. I am able to, because I had long COVID, and I wouldn't necessarily recommend, just walking away from your job, but because I had long COVID, I couldn't go back to the job that I had. And I wound up being removed from that job due to disability. Well, now I do the work that I was actually have always been purposed to do. So it's like, I'm not going to look backward at what I feel like I have lost, or look backward and focus on that. Yes, I don't know how this road for me is going to end. And there are some things about it that are just very uncertain. And I don't like uncertainty like that.
Well, no, of course not. You
I
need
don't like,
predictability.
but But the thing is that I have so much to celebrate. And if I landed on my feet, so to speak, and I'm able to go out into the world and interact with people and write more, we would never have met, Gareth, if I had not been removed from my job. And
Well,
so we would never have, because I would still be there. And
but the truth of the matter is, you can
Mhm.
never gainsay anything that's gone before. I mean, I was bullied incessantly for 10 years. I've had horrendous things happen to me, been accused of things, had my name dragged through the mud, exonerated myself in front of my peers, all that sort of stuff. But
Right.
then I realized that everything that I am now, the thing that makes us, you and I, bond together, is
Right.
part and part some level of shared experience, and also
Mhm.
being survivors
Right.
of these things. That's what perhaps draws us together. But you can't gainsay and wish. Well, I wish I hadn't had that bit. I wish I'd never been bullied. I wish I'd never had the court case. I wish I'd never had, because small changes, butterfly wings, or a beating of butterfly wings somewhere else causes a hurricane. Look, the point about it is, we should be thankful that we've actually succeeded in achieving where we've got to now. You should be proud of, and I think you are, of what you achieved. The fact that you are a person of some standing. You've done a remarkable TEDx talk. You've managed to put yourself in a position where you can help others, which is
Right.
the truth, the true giving back. Yes.
Yes. And so that I mean, that is the takeaway though, ultimately. And it just simply cannot be said enough. Don't look back, because what has happened, and yesterday's gone. And so look forward. And even if you were in those early days where you're like, I can just remember, not in those early days when it was like, here, this woman is I'm so deeply I could not even sort laundry. So I've got, yes, I am stuck in that mud. But the thing that I would say is just get up and keep putting one foot in front
The,
of the
the, the,
other.
the, the journey of a thousand steps starts with but a single one. You've got to keep moving forward. And sometimes you don't even need to have clarification of what the final end point is going to be. You
Exactly.
just got to
Exactly.
keep moving towards the light. It doesn't matter whether the light is an oncoming train or is in fact the end of a tunnel. You've got to walk towards it one way or the other. And the truth of the matter is, there have been so many moments where you've learned something about yourself
Hmm.
in this recovery period that
Yes.
perhaps you would never, if everything had been fine and you'd put up and got on with life as it was back then and just dealt with the iniquity of it all, even though it was terrible, even though it was wrong, you may have never discovered half these things about yourself. You would have come to the end of your life an ignoramus. Yet here you are now, far more clued up, far more focused on who you really are and what you're really about. You've learned things about yourself that would have remained a mystery to this day. I'm certain of it.
Oh, absolutely. And the thing is, and it's like this quote, and I could be paraphrasing it, but it's from this book by the mindfulness founder of, or one of the founders of the mindfulness revolution, John Kabat-Zinn. And he, in his book Full Catastrophe Living,
Right.
he said, and I'm paraphrasing, it is not the catastrophe is not what has happened to you. Or is not the change itself. It is how you navigate, how you choose to navigate that. And so if you are in a moment where that situation, may have lost your job, someone may have died in your family, you may be completely overwhelmed and down about everything that is happening around us. I mean, we don't have to look far to get stuck in that, where we can really get stuck in the mud of it all.
Absolutely.
You could be, as I, getting ready, going through in the beginning stages of a divorce, coming to terms with a very severe and extremely not toxic, but raging depression. And the thing is, and I think this is really the essence of life, It's that human interaction, that human connection that is truly the essence of life. And one of the things that I learned as these years have gone by is that when I started in February of 2006, I realized sometime after that that my life had become so narrow, and because I was just, my world had become narrow. I didn't really interact with people and all of that. But over the course of the years and all of the different things that I went through, my world has expanded exponentially. Exponentially. And I've met tremendous people along the way. And those people have enriched my life. So at the end of the day, there is some purpose in the pain and in the challenge. But if you can just keep going, there is great joy, and there is you will be so rich there. So my point is, look ahead. Don't look back. Don't look back. There's nothing to be gained by that. But take the lessons, look at what you've learned, and keep going.
Yeah, it's the past is a wonderful place to visit, but I wouldn't want to live there. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Stephanie. Once again, another wonderful chat with Stephanie Mitchell Hughes. We tend to do this once a week. Do watch out, please. I love it when people randomly come up to me and say, "Who's that black lady you always having these animated conversations with?" They say, "Stephanie, you should follow her." The point about it is, there is something to be gained through this life experience. Do you know what? Failing forward, there's something to be said for it. You can really learn a lot by not wallowing in it, but springboarding forward. Thank you so much, Stephanie. Everyone listening, have a marvelous weekend, and of course, great mental health. Bye-bye now.